Hi everyone and welcome back. I was asked why I don't use so much green in my pours. Well, reality is that I'm often failed using greens, so I actually don't really use green that often. But as it was requested, I want to use a green color palette this time. And again, I'm playing with the DecoArt Americana paints along with their pouring medium, and I will also give you a short glimpse into their TopCoat pouring medium to finalize your painting in the end. So as requested, again, I'm using the greenish colors here, and yeah, just let's start with the color mixing. According to the pouring medium instructions, it says that you have to use 1:1 ratio when it comes to a pouring medium and the colors that you use, especially when it comes to the consistency that the Americana paints are in. If you have thicker paints, like my Artina paints are, for example, I would have to use a larger amount of the pouring medium. In the end, you would want to have almost the same consistency in whatever paints you're using and the consistency what you're actually used to use. When mixing these colors, they really blend beautifully into the pouring medium, which is really great. I have had pouring mediums in the past, and my acrylic binder in a way does as well, which I am currently using. And you end up having some chunks and blobs of thicker paint in your mixture, which actually isn't that much of an issue when you make larger pours, but it can be an issue if you tilt more and you have those blobs sitting on your canvas and they just move way slower than the rest of the paint and you get awkward shapes and such. So this might be an issue. This did not happen here in this case, so this was really beautiful to see. I wanted to go for a technique that I felt most comfortable about, which is just a dirty pour. So I did not want to have a flip cup, I didn't want to have a swipe, just a regular dirty pour and see how it comes out in the end. And along with those greens, as I needed somewhat for contrasting it, I decided for gold. Because I thought a dark green and a gold might look cool together, but I did not have any gold color from the Americana paints. So for this color I opted for my Artina brand and mixed it to the same consistency as the rest of the paints. The Artina colors are way thicker than the Americanas, so I used a bit more of the pouring medium just to have the same consistency. As I was not so sure how much of the really dark green will show up in the very end if I just pour everything in a dirty pour, I made a small layer of the dark green on top of the canvas, and this is a 30 by 30 canvas board. So some kind of cardboard with wrapped around linen canvases are made from. So those are pretty affordable and easy to use. Yeah, and then I just basically poured all the colors into my pouring cup and poured it over the rest of the canvas and stretched it around. And you know what? Surprisingly, I like the result. I torched it a bit, of course, to enable the cell creation, so I added a bit of silicone to them just to see how these pouring medium and the paints themselves react to silicone, because this in the end is completely new set of paints to me and I felt like a noob, so starting over fresh from the very beginning. They behave differently than the colors that I'm used to currently, so it was kind of all new to me. But although I didn't expect it, I really liked the end result that I got. I liked the design, I liked how the gold showed up, and you will see how the gold is going to show up in the end when everything is dry, because this gold is always best looking when it's dry. And of course I wanted to see if the green itself dries darker than you can see here now in the pour, because this would be a better contrast against the gold. And imagine that, I did have some drip of paint. So what to do with this? So normally I just scrape it up and put it into my jar where I store all my drip off and rest amount of paint in, which I in the end use as an underlayer paint mixture. And this time I just thought about why not using even smaller cardboards and making some paintings from it. So I just used some smaller ones and I really don't know the sizes. Something you can see it's pretty small, and it's the same cardboard that I used for the larger one. I just scooped up some of the paint that was stripped off, put it on there and pressed both of them on top of each other, which is a cool technique as well, and you can get cool effects of them. They did not turn out super pretty here in this time, but I had some results that are really cute. So this is just something that you can experiment with yourself and what you can try, and to get some use for your drip of paints. And what you can do with those small things? Well, even if they do not turn out as the most pretty things on earth, you can just use them as a thank you card or birthday card, whatsoever, depending on the color scheme that you're using, I guess. So this is something I can give away as a giveaway. Just writing a lovely note onto this for one of my customers, and yeah, it looks just cooler than a plain sheet of paper, I'd say. I don't know, make up your own mind if you like this idea. If yes, give it a go. If you don't, then just leave it out. So basically, when this was done, they just had to dry as usual, and on the next day, when everything was dry, I was able to add the TopCoat varnish. And I'm going to have a separate video about varnishing with a varnish, this TopCoat, or with resin, and even how I clean up the silicone residue sitting on canvases or poured artworks. This video is going to come in a couple of videos ahead, so I'm just in the production as of now, but it takes some time to prepare everything, as you know. So here is actually just a small teaser how I made the first approach to the TopCoat varnish that DecoArt also sent me. And it is written there that you should apply the coat and then put your artwork to a 45-degree angle to have everything drip off, which is too much on there, which I intended to do in the very beginning, but I had the impression that the upper part of the canvas where I started pouring and the lower part where everything was dripping off had two different thicknesses. So the upper part is really thin coated and the lower part was just a bit thicker coated, which I did not like, and I saw so much of this top coat dripping off, although I thought I was on the savvy side adding it, and I reconsidered this technique on the go. So I just stopped tilting it and put it level, and it worked as well. It worked even greater, I think. So this top coat pouring medium levels itself out, and even if there is a thicker coat in some areas than you have in other areas, it will dry almost same thin in the very end. So I did have some areas where the top coat medium was a bit thicker applied than in other areas, but everything dried really flat and evenly, which was great. And when I look at it, it does not really work like a resin finish. It is as glossy and shiny as it is, but it will remain the texture of your canvas or any bumps and dents that you are going to have in the canvas before you're top coated. So it will actually remain the surface structure, which is nice. So if you have small dents from the silicone and such, you will see it in the very end. Perhaps they will disappear if we add a second, third, fourth, whatsoever coat of the top coat onto it, but I don't think it's necessary. I think this is just depending on your personal taste. So I think this is it for this video demonstration. It was a shorter one this time, as this was experimenting with new kind of paints and new kind of mediums. I of course hope that you enjoyed watching and perhaps learned something new, that you like the end result that I have achieved. And as usual, if you have whatsoever questions, please leave me below in the comment box, as well as my social media links if you want to get in touch with me. Please also consider subscribing to my channel if you liked what I did here, and also have a look at my older videos. So there are already 180 or so on there, and you might want to see a couple of them. So thank you for your time, thanks for watching, and other than that, I wish you a great day. Bye bye.